Aloha, friends and shamans, and welcome to EarthStar Spiritual Center, Sundays at 11:11. Thank you for being here in this beautiful dimensional space, although we all exist in this wonderful and beautiful interdimensional space. So thank you for being here from all parts of the world. We are in Greensboro, North Carolina, United States of America. So thank you to all our friends also from around the world and those who are watching this on replay. So to the ones that are here with us today, remember this is a live chat. So let us know you're here. If you have any questions, anything you'd like to share, please do that. Other than that, let's go right into it. Okay. So it is Sundays at 11:11 to align, awaken, and ascend. We are about cosmic shaman and aloha consciousness, and that's who we are, and that's what we do on Sundays at 11:11. Okay, and today is May 31st, 2026. If you can believe it is May 31st, my goodness, time is just exponentially moving by. And just think how fast we are evolving as we all move towards this wonderful notion of planet Aloha and into this grand shift into the next density or dimension into 4D. So wonderful with that. And speaking of that shifting and moving, today's topic is energy moving and shifting. I am Dale Stacy. I'll be your host today. I am the co-abbot of EarthStar Spiritual Center with my beautiful French and American wife, Jeanne. And so we're going to have a great time today. Thank you. And we are EarthStar Spiritual Center. These are some of the things we do. Is be the Aloha in every moment. Been doing this since 2002. We are a multi-faith church for living Aloha, planetary awareness to galactic consciousness. On the right side, you see some of the interfaith perspectives or multi-faith perspectives that we've been engaged in. And on the left side, you see our little acronym, Aloha, standing for all those wonderful core principles of who we are and what we believe. And that is all living God, love, oneness, heart path, and as above and so below. And Sundays at 11:11, since we're dealing with cosmic shaman and aloha consciousness, these are some of the topics that we will cover. Also, these are topics we can cover if you want more of a personal one-on-one session during the week. We can do that with life coaching. Just contact us. I've got that information in the show notes. Okay. And these are some of the books we've written. So 7 so far. So other than the 2 on each end, the ones in the middle there, the 5 in the middle, they kind of focus on shamanism, everything from earth shamanism to cosmic shamanism. And I have those links in the show notes, and they are on Amazon. So thank you for your support with that. And then also our music ministry, want to highlight that. We started that this spring. So March 28th, 2026. We're up to 11 songs. We try to do 1 song a week. At least that's the goal, or average 1 song for a week. And song number 12 will be coming out tomorrow around the high noon hour. So thank you for tuning in for that. So remember, all the videos on YouTube, those are free to watch. And if you want to download this on your favorite streaming platform, you can do that. I think I have it set at 99 cents. So thank you for your support for that too. We're trying to be multi-genre, just like we're trying to be multi-faith. And also the most recent project that we want to participate in, and that is something I received from Mary of Magdala, and working with the White Light of the Christ and the Rose Light of Magdala. When I wrote the song for Light of Magdala, that was song number 4. I was approached, or in our meditation visualization time, Mary asked that we make a worldwide project of this song. In the intentions of reaching 1 billion hearts on Mother Earth, so 1 billion heart connections on planet Aloha. And also she has another suggestion was to let it be 1 trillion hearts in the galaxy. But we'll focus on planet Earth for right now. So again, if you can, download the song or listen to it free on YouTube and share this with friends and family. We want this to go around the world, knowing that with the Rose Light of Magdala and the White Light of the Christ, it will definitely be a very healing song to listen to, and that's the intention. So thank you for that. And one of the groups we belong to during this wonderful time of humanitarian projects is Connecting Consciousness with Simon Parks and his wife Becky. They currently live in England. So we have around 100,000 members and connecting consciousness in over 100 countries. Simon will be one of the directors or managers of the humanitarian funds when they are released very soon, actually in the process right now. And so we have a bid in to have a humanitarian project, a medbed center in this area, the Greensboro area. So tune in to Connecting Consciousness. I have his contact info in the show notes. Thank you for that. Okay. And our shack principles, being shamans of Aloha, here living on planet Aloha and creating it anew every single second with every single act of Aloha. Make sure we try to tend to our smiles and hugs and acts of kindness, compliments and kisses throughout every single day, doing several of these whenever you can, and make sure you do them to yourself, and make sure you allow others to do these for and to you. Okay. Wonderful time. All right, so let's get right into it. So here we are, Sundays at 11:11, and the topic today is energy moving and shifting. Okay. And of course, we're all interested in energy because we're all living. We're all animated source of this energy. So we certainly want to be involved with being conscious and active and interactive with our energy that's in and around us. Okay. So our objectives today then, define energy. And then number 2 is to examine moving and shifting energy with the mind, body, spirit perspective. Okay. All right, let me check my comments. There we go. Okay. All right, so the first one then, objective number 1, to define energy. When we look at this from a 3D physical dictionary sense, we can define this energy as a capacity to do work or exerting a force. Now, force not in the sense of a verb, but force in the sense of an adjective. Okay, so what we're doing. So think about, and this is over a distance. So think about electricity, heat. Think about a flashlight, right? That exerts a life force, right? A light force over a considerable distance. So that would be a physical definition of energy. When we think of this from a spiritual sense, think of it and know it as an animating life force. And we know some of the words from this, those of you who have studied here at EarthStar, or you study mind, body, spirit exercises, and that's chi, ki, prana, mana. Chi primarily being the Chinese word for this life force, ki being the Japanese and Korean word, prana more the Hindu word. So if you do yoga, Sanskrit materials, and use prana. And then mana, of course, is the rainbow energy force of Hawaii and Polynesia. Okay, so chi, ki, prana, and mana. And then so these are more subjective, they're intuitive, they're tied to our consciousness, emotions, and to our spiritual well-being. And those of you who do the mind, body, spirit exercises, this is what you focus on most of the time. Okay, so that's objective number 1 then. All right, so let's look at objective number 2, and that's to examine and discuss the moving and shifting energy through mind, body, and spirit. So if we start with the mind, some ways that we can do this, and the ways we do this every single day, just make sure as conscious shamans of Aloha, we have conscious intention and building and cultivating this energy that is above, below, within, without, and all around us all the time. So the first way that we do this is through thoughts. So remember, it takes the same amount of energy to be sad or glad. So choose to be glad. Okay? So thoughts are the primary way that we move and shift this energy. We do it also through our intention, or attention rather. And then we do it through focus. And then we do it through imagination, and then intention, and then visualization. So these are the ways that mentally we can move this energy back and forth, up and down, within and without, all around us. We shift our thoughts. We're thinking something differently. We give attention and focus to something. Just think how many times a day you're actually moving and shifting your energy in a mental sense. Okay? And then when we establish some mental blueprints or plans for our life, or for the day, we have active intention. So we have active focus, active imagination that we're trying to start this creation process to manifest something in 3D. And then we can carry that a little bit more with our visualization. Okay. and sometimes going into daydreaming, and then we start to cross over into the spiritual side of things. So visualizing things, intending, imagining, using that intentional focus, giving attention to it, and creating all these wonderful thoughts. So we have many, many moving and shifting examples throughout the day that we do this from a mental sense. So make sure you're aware of that, and make sure you practice this with an intentional sense to know that you can control your thoughts. We want to try to avoid the monkey mind as much as we can, because we want our thoughts to be intentional and with full attention, full focus, because that's who we are as shamans. Because remember, shamanism is a harmony of mind, body, and spirit. So mentally, we establish a particular pattern, and then our body replicates, remembers, and uses this pattern to begin the creation process, and then sends this wonderful energy to our spirit so it can inspire us and help us to manifest that particular thought into an actual real 3D pattern. So the mental aspect of who we are as far as moving and shifting energy, it is the primary force that begins our shamanic life and energy for the day. So make sure you're very conscious and aware of it. Okay? All right. The second one then is going to be the body, of course. So we're still moving and shifting energy. So you can see how many things we do here in the body wise or physical wise. Well, the first one is breathing, of course. I mean, we have to stay alive. So our bodies are already given the ability to breathe. We don't have to think about that. Imagine if we had to think consciously about taking a breath, or making our heart beat, or making our nerves work, or for the blood to flow. I mean, these are all part of the natural process that are automatic within us. Matter of fact, our infinite creator even put that concept of yawning into our body, that we know that we get so relaxed, we actually stop breathing. So what do? We yawn. So it's an automatic process. And then when we yawn, what do? We take a deep breath. So it's almost like there had to be a default switch put inside our bodies to remind us to breathe. Now, breathing is a very important part of who we are, our animation into 3D. And we're taught very little about breathing. You know, that's the first thing we do. Mother Earth gives us that breath. We inhale at birth. And then, of course, when we pass and make transition, we give that breath back to Mother Earth with that last exhale. So two very important parts in our life in reference to breathing, and we're taught very little about it unless you've learned some Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, and other measured and intentional type breathing exercises. So try to learn those. We have some of that on our YouTube channel with the Qigong, and you may want to look at that at the playlist. Okay? All right, another way that physically we can move and shift the energy, of course, is very focused breathing or measured breathing. And that would be using a clock, using some sort of time device. And let's say you would inhale for 5 seconds, hold your breath for 5 seconds, and then exhale for 5 seconds. Or you could inhale, exhale, and then hold your breath for 5 seconds. Do it many different ways. Okay? So this would be more of a focused or measured way of shifting and moving energy as we do our breathing work. Okay? Now, body care or self-care, that means, we're able to move and shift energy every time we brush our teeth, every time we pee and poop, every time we feed ourselves. So this is the body care, the body functions that we do. So remember, every time we do this, you are moving and shifting energy. So begin to think of every movement, every thought, every process that you do as some sort of moving and shifting of energy, because that's who we are. We are this incredible life force who has been here forever in this wholeness of life, this great diamond of existence. And we simply live out our lives in many, many ways, many dimensions and personas. We live on a particular facet for a given amount of time with a given amount or a certain amount of people or soul group. And we do this forever. So we are living, moving, and shifting energy. So begin to think of yourself in this way, and it will change the focus of your life and how you can move and integrate this wonderful energy into everything you do. Okay? So body care then. Clothing is another way that we move and shift energy. You know, if you're going to a presentation at work, I imagine many of you aren't going to be wearing the old ragged holy gray sweatshirt, and sweatpants are barely, the elastic's gone out of it and they're falling down. You're not going to be standing in front of a group giving this wonderful presentation, right? You're going to be wonderful in the way you dress, nice dress outfit, nice suit, and you're going to look your best, right? Your hair's brushed, makeup on, you've brushed your teeth, your breath is fresh. You're very resilient, very, very vigilant in your attitude. You have this glow about you. So clothing can do that for us. So just know that every time you shift or wear different clothing, because just think when you wear clothing and go to the gym, you're shifting and moving your energy to prepare for that time, that workout. Same thing if you get dressed for dinner. Same thing if you're wearing your pajamas at night, or if you're just wearing other clothes at night to get ready for bed or to lounge on the couch or watching TV. You wear different clothing when you're responding and going to be with different people, right? You wear different clothing to be with your parents, to be with certain friends, going on first dates or second dates, or being with your wife or husband, being with your children. So clothing is a very big factor for changing, moving, and shifting energy. So be aware of that. Again, be aware of the energy that you are and how you interact with it. Drinking and eating. Every time you drink something different, that different essence, whether it's water or 2 fingers of that moonshine, right? You're drinking something and it has a different kind of energy with it. So remember that. Same thing with foods. Every time you eat a different type of food, even whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or a snack, you're eating different ethnic foods. Remember, you take on a different aura, a different persona. So you are moving and shifting energy. Those of you who love ice cream or love desserts, when you start to sit down and have that dessert or that ice cream, it turns on all these beautiful endorphins in you because you just love all that sugar flowing through the system. Of course, being a carnivore diet like Jeanne and I are, we refrain from that. But every now and then we'll have something. So just think that totally shifts and moves your energy also. Now, exercise, obviously, that moves and shifts your energy because you're moving into a different body set. It's trying to work out different muscles. You're monitoring your breathing, noticing how you feel. So again, when you exercise, just know whether it's lifting weights or doing aerobic exercises, every time you do that, every movement, every pedal of that bike, every step, every run, every trot, every lifting of that weight, anything you do, calisthenics, every particular exercise, you are shifting and moving energy. And make sure you let your body know that you're doing this because you want to be stronger and you want to be better, that you're evolving with every movement, every breath. That's why you're exercising. So let your body know this in a conscious sense. Again, another way we move energy with the body or physically is through our 5 senses. Remember, when we see something or we look around, we gaze at something, every time we look in a different spot, we're moving energy with our eyesight. If you've ever taken a vision test and it's a field of vision test and they blip up little flashes of light all over the place, every time you're moving your eyes to look at those flashes of light, you're shifting and moving your energy. So same thing you do whenever you're out during the day or reading a book. Just think reading a book. Every single word, every single letter, you're moving and shifting your energy. Okay? Same thing with all the sounds we hear, all the sounds that we make. Same thing with all the things that we touch, touching something soft, something hard. Right? Same thing with all the aromas when we smell. And then same thing with all the wonderful taste and the sensations we gather from every single taste. Salty, sweet, bitter, sweet. Okay, sweet and sour. So all our senses then are geared for shifting and moving energy. So make sure, once again, you're aware this is an energy exercise. Your life is an energy exercise, mind, body, and spirit. It always has been, it is now, and it will be forever. So think of yourself as living, moving, and shifting energy. And I promise you, it will change the way you see who you are, how you are, it'll change everything about you. Okay? Now, grounding and centering. Also another way that we can shift and move the energy on our bodies. Sometimes we want to just go out and ground. Maybe we need to ground. So we take off the shoes, we go out, we walk in the grass, we walk in the sand. We walk on the deck, and even if the pavement's not hot, we can walk on the pavement. Remember, asphalt and concrete, those are made up of atoms, and every atom in our universe is God. So don't think that you can't ground and center on concrete. I would think with the heaviness of concrete and asphalt, that would certainly lend to its grounding properties because it's adhered to Mother Earth. Just make sure it's not a hot, blistering day. You don't want to walk around because, even sand's like that when you've been at the beach and that sand is so hot and you're doing that tiptoe run to get to the water. So make sure that you do your grounding whenever and wherever you can, even in a high-rise building, even if you're on the roof of a building or in the penthouse section of a skyscraper, you can still ground to Mother Earth because all that is attached to Mother Earth. So make sure we don't have these little arbitrary rules about, if you sit cross-legged or if you're somewhere in a high-rise or if you're on concrete, you can't ground because that is erroneous. So I invite you to change your perspective, shift and move your energy mentally about that because everything is attached to Mother Earth some way, somehow. Okay? Now, centering, I include that because, if you're a water or air sign, it's very difficult for you to be grounded. So key in on the facet of being centered. And that means being centered in your midsection, either your solar plexus or your heart. So you're centered, you're in the middle between heaven and earth. A lot of times when we think about grounding for air and water people, air being grounded, that could be deemed a tornado. That's usually not good. Same thing for water people. When you're grounded, sometimes that could be a flood. And yes, sometimes that's not good. Now, fire, we're able to do grounding and centering both. Earth people, all you earth signs, yes, grounding is definitely for you. Okay? All right, and then another one is physically moving the body, just in a general sense. That's how we move and shift energy. So any type of movement you do, right? I mean, every scratch, every touching of the hair, the face, every movement while you're showering, walking around, working, writing, anything you do physically to move, you are moving and shifting energy. Because think about, before you make the next move, you're doing something. So the energy is doing something in that particular time and space. But now when you physically move a part of your body, even wiggling your little toe, you have moved and shifted energy. So again, be aware you are living, moving, and shifting energy. That's who you are. And then, of course, working. Look at all the things you do when you work, whether it's a very physically demanding job, or whether you're in a cubicle, you're working in a think tank. Again, you're moving things in your mind, you're moving things in your body. Some way, somehow, your body is moving. If nothing else, you're moving your diaphragm just when you breathe, right? So breathing is moving and shifting because the diaphragm is up and down. The lungs are expanding and contracting. The heartbeat is expanding and contracting. Blood is flowing through the body. The nerves, all those synapses are firing. The electricity is flowing through the body. So whenever you're working, you're moving anything and everything physically when we move the body. So in other words, just do something and just know that even though when you actually think you're not doing anything, for instance, breathing, remember you're still moving energy or sleeping. You're still moving energy. You're moving and shifting energy just from your heartbeat, just from breathing, just from the blood flowing and from the nerves. Okay? Everything is moving all the time. Okay? We're always moving in stillness, and that's why we want to learn to be still in our movements. Okay? To moving and shifting energy physically. That's who we are. Okay? So just be aware of that today as you go through life. Yeah. Now, number 3. Let's look at moving and shifting energy from a spirit sense or spiritual sense. Of course, the first one that comes to mind is those of us who like to do the astral traveling or taking a shamanic journey. Same aspect. We're actually sending or projecting our energy field or our astral or auric field or a spirit body field, higher self field. We're projecting that out to gather information, traveling. I mean, we certainly do this all night long when we have our journeys and our dream time. And we can do this in our awake time. We can do this in a very conscious sense through our meditation, visualization time, okay, during our astral or shamanic journey. That's one way we can move and shift this energy in a spiritual sense. Okay? Another way, of course, is our dream time. And this would also include daydreams. So nighttime dreaming, daydreaming. Obviously, you're shifting and moving energy because this is an intentional thing we're doing. We're shifting our awareness, our intention in the spirit world. Okay, and we can do this in every aspect of how we dream, whether it's we're just going along for the ride, or maybe even doing your lucid dreaming. Because remember, in lucid dreaming, you're able to have some sort of conscious control. So you're certainly shifting and moving the energy that way. Anytime we do any type of energy work, any time of healing work or energy healing. So those of you who are Reiki, HUNA, right, reflexology, any type of energy healing work, using any kind of light energy, also any sound energy. So if we're using any of that type of work, you're certainly moving and shifting energy when you're doing that type of healing work for either yourself or someone else. I mean, just think about you're doing this energy healing work because we know how you feel right now or how someone else feels, they're telling you, and you certainly want to move them and shift them to a better version of who they are and how they feel. Same thing for you. So we're certainly moving and shifting energy from that aspect. Meditating, definitely moving and shifting energy, because not only are you meditating, whether you're sitting still or walking, however you meditate, you may have more active meditation. Remember, when we think about meditating from the grander shamanic sense, you are meditating 24/7. So you've always meditated, you are now, and you will be forever, because we can't separate mind, body, and spirit. You know, we're a one unit. It's all for one and one for all thing. So you're meditating 24/7. We're just not geared to think of it that way. So now that you've shifted your gears, you've moved into moving and shifting and knowing you truly are energy all the time. Just know that you're meditating all the time, even dreaming, right? You're meditating, sleeping at night. That's still meditating. So you're always meditating. So you're always moving and shifting energy. Prayer time, another way of meditation. So as we're praying, again, this is with intention, with thankfulness, gratitude, focus, praying to some wonderful, loving, aloha field energy, our great infinite creator. Okay? Praying with our creator, praying for other people, other situations and circumstances. Okay? This is certainly shifting and moving energy. Okay? And also spirit and a vision quest. You know, when we do a spirit and vision quest, we have an intention to gather some information or to learn information about a special question or observation that we'd like more clarity. Okay? So spirits and vision quest, there's a wonderful way to do this, more of an active type of prayer or meditation that we can use in our everyday life on those special occasions, going to that mountaintop or going to the beach or sitting by the water, listening to some music. You can do this at home. You can do this outside, inside, sitting by the fire, watching a candle, listening to your water fountain, bubble bath, shower, headphones on, listening to some wonderful music, or playing an instrument. These are all wonderful ways to do a spirit vision quest. And just know that, when it comes to playing some type of musical instrument, when you play those different notes and tones, that is a shift and a move. So use that in your spirit time for spirit and vision questing. And also any time that we shift into dimensional realms. Currently we're occupying 3D, which is the self-awareness density. And just know that the elements, they're in 1D. So we certainly can relate with our elements, right? Our fire, earth, air, and water. Our 2D elements or 2D density, and that's the plants and animals, because that's reference to energies that are about growth and about healing and living with light, like plants do. And then, of course, we're 3D, self-awareness. And then if you want to go to 4D, that's the density of love. 5D, the density of light and wisdom. 6D, the density of unity. 7 and 8D, if you want to do that, you can certainly do that, because those of you who have activated your Merkaba, either with our classes or with other people, you know that you have access to 144D. And of course, you don't want to limit yourself there, because there certainly is 145D, and it goes all the way out to infinity. So make sure you realize you have access to all your dimensional realms, and you obviously are moving and shifting energy when you do that. Okay. So there we have it. We have mind, body, and spirit, different ways that we move and shift energy. And as we go over that list, just know that many of these things we certainly do unconsciously. We've done this our whole life. So let me invite you today to make sure that you do this from a conscious sense, conscious focus, conscious attention, and conscious intention. That we dream and daydream, that we live these perspectives of mind, body, and spirit, knowing that you are truly energy. You always have been, you are now, and you will be forever, because we all live in this beautiful wholeness, this wonderful diamond of forever. And this is what we do. We move and shift energy. We can't help it. This is who we are. Okay? So wonderful with that. Okay? So when we think about defining energy, then we know that from the spiritual sense, we know it's the chi, ki, prana, mana. It is the life force, right? It's the first breath we took on Mother Earth, the last breath we take when we give it back, and we make that transition. We shift and move to another perspective of who we are. Right. So when we define that energy, just know that it's all around you, because you are energy. And that's what examining the moving and shifting energy. We know that we can move it with our mind, with all the thoughts, with our focus, our attention, intention. And with the body, we have such a myriad of ways of moving and shifting energy. Every time we make some sort of body movement, we're moving and shifting energy. Okay? And then also with the spiritual sides, our meditations and prayers, vision quests, spirit quest. Anytime we're doing any type of awareness and moving our body, extending and projecting our energy, our life force out, that is moving the energy in the spiritual sense. So remember, we meditate 24/7, and we are a living, growing, moving, shifting source of energy 24/7. That's who we are. We've always been this. We are now, and we will be forever, because we live forever. So let me invite you again to make sure you know that you shift and move energy all the time, because that's who you are. You are this forever energy. So begin living life knowing this, believing this, and live it every single second. Because why else would you live in a sense of not knowing who you are and realizing who you are? That you can create a reality just by shifting and moving a thought, moving your physical sense, and applying the spiritual sense to help inspire and to create who and what you'd like to create. Okay, wonderful. All right, so wonderful review. All right, well, let's move into our Aloha bubble time. Let me check the comments. So thank you for being here. And again, as we get ready for our 5-minute meditation healing time, let's get ourselves prepared to work on our Aloha bubble. Let me give you some nice little flute music to listen to as we do that. Okay. So as we think about the larger picture. So as we think about, you have nowhere else to be, nothing else to do, except just be here right now, to be calm, to be healed, to be loved and be loved and be well. All right, so let's focus on our Aloha bubble. So let's energize our 7 main chakras, where our intention, the red root chakra. And just imagine a basketball size or a soccer ball, volleyball size circle for each one of these chakras. So the red root chakra, the orange navel chakra, the yellow solar plexus chakra, the green heart chakra. And this one may be, for some of you, it'll be twice the size of the other chakras. Okay? And for everybody, it'll be just a little bit bigger, because remember, you're love. Okay? And then the throat, light blue or sky blue chakra. And then to the fourth or third eye or pineal chakra, beautiful either medium blue, royal blue, deep blue, indigo blue. And then to the top of the head, right? The baby soft spot, crown chakra. Beautiful violet and purple. And this will probably have lots of little streaks and flows of the beautiful golden white light. So a beautiful rainbow body. As you breathe gently, just sense and feel these wheels just spinning, moving energy in, sending energy out. And now as you look at the picture, you see that little tube, a little line of light going from the crown chakra down to the root, from the purple to the red. Imagine this being your light tube. And think of a fluorescent light, a fluorescent tube. And it actually is the size of a fluorescent tube. If you can imagine your thumb and middle finger touching, that's the size of your light tube for you, because it's based on sacred geometry. So imagine this light tube connecting all 7 chakras. And as you're doing your calm breathing, this light tube begins to fill these 7 chakras, turns into a rainbow tube. And now this tube expands, or it just begins to exude these colors. It simply can't hold it all, so it goes out into your energy field. And soon this beautiful sphere or bubble is created around you, and it's an aloha bubble. So it's about 1 hand length above the head, 1 hand length below the body. And if you stretch your arms out, it'll go all the way to the fingertips. So it's there whether you're standing or sitting, or even lying down. And now that your aloha bubble is filled up with these beautiful rainbow of colors, allow that light tube, if you see in the picture, it now goes to the very top and bottom of your aloha bubble, so that you are fully connected. Chakras, beautiful colors, beautiful vibrations and rhythms of your aloha bubble. Empty yourself of everything. Let the mind rest at peace. Returning to the source is stillness, which is the way of nature. A.L.O.H.A, Jeanne, Book 16. And now as we move into our healing prayer meditation time, chakras are energized, aloha bubble intact. Think about yourself as being a beautiful source of energy. You always have been, you are, and will be forever. Use this energy, move this energy, shift it with your thoughts, your body movements. Shift it with your spirit. Shift this energy, send this energy to those you wish to have prayer with. And we certainly want to do this to the ones on our prayer list, those who are going through healing challenges at this time. We send you this love, this energy, this aloha. Or simply just meditate and be with this energy and know that you are living, breathing animation of the chi, ki, prana, and mana. Do this now. All right, I think that was a silent prayer. And let me turn it back on, give you this wonderful energy. Okay. And may the love and light of the Aloha that flows through everyone, everything, everywhere, always be with you. The Aloha in mind, body, and spirit, thought, word, and deed. With everyone, everything, everywhere, and every time, place, and space. All of your endeavors at homework and play, and all of your personal and business ministries, planetary awareness to galactic consciousness. May the spirit of love that flows through all things flow through you. And I ask this in the name of the spirit of the Aloha that flows through all things, all the time, forever. And many blessings to those who are going through those wonderful healing challenges, that you be fulfilled and healed in mind, body, and spirit. And aloha. Okay. Thank you. All right. Let me give us a pow. Okay. So when we think about what we did today, think about your wonderful light and love. Now let's do a wonderful pow, and Hawaiian means all over. Ready? 1, 2, 3, pow. Wonderful job. Thank you for being here. Remember, make sure my sound's on now. So remember, you are awesome. You are beautiful. Okay? And you do this forever. Okay? So awesome, beautiful, and perfect. You always have been, you are now, and you will be forever. So know this, believe this, and live this. You are eternal energy. Be the love in every moment. Jeannie and I love you. You have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week, and perhaps we'll see you during the week. Okay, much aloha. Here we go.